All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spiritual Sisters with your girl, Sister Soltress and Sister
Hi,
Jen. How you
so
doing?
good. Doing great, doing great.
So, our podcast is not just about spiritual awakening. It's like, where do you go to be spiritually awakened? Because, and I want to preface this with why religion works so well. You're always studying it. You hear about it in songs, you're listening to it from a pastor at church, you're constantly feeding your soul. In church they tell you to feed your soul. You're constantly feeding your soul, which is why religion works. What they're not telling you is that that would work regardless of what you were. That's why all these toxic beliefs exist, because somebody has been feeding their soul toxic beliefs. So if I sat here and told you black people are the true rulers of this earth, and we need to kill all the other races, and you're gonna grow up to believe that, right? So I like to give believers a pathway, just some advice on where to start, right? Where to start? How do I feed my soul? How do I go to church for myself spiritually, right? So, one of the things I did, I was scrolling and I found this guy, and he doesn't have. I really don't know his name. I'm not gonna lie, but his group is called the Dynasty Media Group, and they have spiritual materials, because there's a lot of spiritual materials out there, but the reason why I'm suggesting this one is because it's a good start.
Mm.
It's good for beginners. Some material out there you're gonna read and it's gonna go over your head, and you're gonna be like, what happened? What did I just read? I'm gonna go back to this Bible. Before you do that, try something a little more digestible, that teaches you, breaks things down better in a way to understand. Um, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you this book that I've been reading, and I'm gonna go over one chapter that I think is very powerful. All the chapters are powerful, but this chapter in particular we're gonna go over now. Sister Seven has not read this book.
I'm ready to.
Basically, what I'm doing now is I'm gonna be sharing it with the audience, but I'm sharing it with her, so you get to see her natural reaction to
Hmm.
things that I've read in this book. But let me show you the book. The book is called Sleeping Nation. Let me get my bookmark out. I don't need y'all to know where I'm at. It's called Sleeping Nation. And I
Sleeping.
actually got two. I got this one, and then there's another one. Let me show you. This one. This one is like a study book. It helps you apply what you learn in this one. So this one you learn, this one you apply. Both from the like I said, the Dynasty Media Group. Um, and the author has a name. I don't know if that how to say his name. Nisu Anjib.
Mm.
Nisu Anjib. And
Okay, yeah.
I've
We'll go
seen
with
this
that.
man live, and to me, he's very American, like a Black American. So I don't know if he changed his name to that or if he was born. Hey, sometimes Black people they will name their kids names from the motherland. Okay, that's what you're gonna do. Um, and we're gonna talk about how it's not. Some people don't even believe that's the motherland, but that's a whole nother. Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation. But so it's called the Sleeping Nation. I'm going to go over chapter 3. There's only 8 chapters in this book, y'all. It's not that hard. It's not that long. But I'm going to go over just chapter 3. But I really, really, really advise you to read this book. It's really opening your mind. And once you read this book, it's like it gives you the knowledge and vocabulary that's going to help you understand when you go down that spiritual rabbit hole that I'm always talking about. I done went through, and you're just learning for yourself. It helps
Hmm.
you understand where everyone's coming from. Everybody don't seem so far fetched anymore.
Hmm.
Chapter 3. So let's get into it. Chapter 3 is all about the control of the matrix. So, one thing, so spiritual people, have different, like I said, paths. We talked about that on the last episode, and different things that they believe in or how they go about it. But there are certain key things that most spiritual people believe. And if you are going on this journey, well, one word you're going to have to know is the matrix. The matrix is what we live in now, right? Like the Matrix, the movie, right? It's the real world. It's the physical world, the physical realm. And so this chapter is about not how the Matrix is set up and designed for control, because it's not. We did that. And the things that we do, humans, to control other humans, so that a small pool of us are more successful than the rest of us, right? So in this book by the Dynasty Media Group, it says there are 5 pillars of control. 5 pillars. All right. Religion, which we talked about. Education.
Correct.
Yes, definitely. And we'll get into that when we talk about that.
And y'all remember, I have not read this book. So remember, right. I'm using my guided cosmic knowledge. And also I'm using what I've recently discovered in the last 24 months. So continue. You're correct. What you're saying.
The third one is media.
Correct.
So
propaganda.
All of media, movies, TV, social media. So we're not just talking about what you see on Facebook. We're talking about when you go to the movies, what you're watching on TV, commercials. Economy is the 4th one. So they control us with money, which I like that they use the word economy and not necessarily money. We'll talk about that one. And then the 5th one is government. So religion, education, media, economy, and government.
No, that's good. Because yes, okay. Yes, because
break them down, and then you can definitely give more details. But the first one is religion, right? When got a mouthful to say about that. But in the book, it talks about how they taught us to fear God rather than reflect God, to wait for heaven rather than to create heaven. They turned another vocabulary word, and we're going to have a whole podcast about this because you got to really dive deep to really understand its essence. But there is an ancient Egyptian laws. They were just rules for humanity called the Ma'at. And what he says is that they turned the Ma'at, which is just rules, into morality, and spirituality into obedience. And that's how they control us. The biggest control of religion, and this is not even in the book, is fear. Fear is weight to spirituality. Fear is how you break down spirituality. The less you fear, the more free and more downloads you can get from the spiritual realm, because it's made to, if I can make you fear something, I can control you with that fear. It's made to put the veil over your face, right? The second pillar of control is education. Start, because I know that's one of those, we were talking about views where we differ. We kind of differ sometimes when we talk about education and religion, especially because I'm in that world and I'm in that field. But I would love to hear what you have to say first, and then I'm gonna speak my piece.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm glad it was revealed in that book, because we're programmed for when we first of all, we programmed because our parents programmed us with the first one, religion, because they give us our religion. And then we're programmed through the educational system, which brainwashes us and program us. Every educational system and can agree that they are in a program. And you also the program is actually created and ran by one of the biggest families in the world, the Rockefellers, who established your wonderful universities and who oversee your Divine Nines and all of your Greek chapters, Black people. I just want to let y'all know, indigenous black people, brown, colorful, wonderful people who go to these HBCUs, that y'all are under the ordinance and the instructions of the Rockefellers, the Rockefeller family, because y'all have to understand that the educational system was created for situations. It's for the, you got to stay in that little box. That's why it looked like the prison system. But I digress because I'm not in that world of the educational system around. I just see what happened. I see it and I feel, and I say, wow.
One who has been in the field. First, I'll tell you what the book says, that schools were built to make people useful, not free. They teach you how to be a well-trained citizen to produce goods and services, rather than become a free thinker. So I completely agree with the book. That's what school is for. It's to teach you how to become a productive citizen in your community, right? But it's supposed to dive a little deeper than that and start making you more creative. But we we're getting worse and worse. We are taking the creative thinking out of education more and more and more. Texas passed 3 years ago a book ban, and banned books like Harry Potter. Why? Because they don't want you to know you're magical. They don't want you to know you're powerful, right? I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I'll pause so that I can look this up. But it's the Scarlet Letter, books like that. And the Scarlet Letter. The reason I bring the Scarlet Letter up, and if you have not read the Scarlet Letter, spoil alert. So if you don't, you might want to just scroll past this.
I haven't read it, but please spoil it for me, because I would like to know. Because as a Christian child, I wasn't allowed to read these books. So please enlighten me with these things.
I read this book in high school, but I'm part of the last generation, because now it's a banned book. High school students can't read it anymore. But and let me explain why it's so important to what we're talking about. So in the Scarlet Letter, there's a woman. This is old times, like when they were burning witches, is that time frame. Right. So very big at the time in humanity, very big on rules, laws, religion. Religion was the law. Okay. At this time. So this woman gets pregnant. She's not married. So they know that obviously she slept with someone unmarried, and she gets shunned for it. And the way they shun her is they make her every day, she has to walk around with a scarlet A for adultery on her chest, and cannot be seen anywhere in public without that A. If she is, they'll like hurt her, they'll stone her. But she's ridiculed, constantly getting looks, of course, because that's what it's made for, to humiliate her. But at the end of the book, you find out who her baby daddy is. Who do you think her baby daddy is?
Probably the man that wrote the law, but I'll let you continue because I never read the book.
Oh, you're so close. You're so close. It was the motherfucking pastor.
I knew it was the man. I knew it was the pastor's chamber.
It's crazy. It's in the book. The pastor's talking bad about her throughout the whole damn book, because he got to save face, right? He got to save face. And here's another idea in this book that I have seen in old stories told time and time again. The woman remained faithful to that man. She didn't tell nobody nothing. She didn't say, if I got to wear this A, then, because a pastor at this time was like a king. He's
correct.
A very important role, right?
Correct.
So you can't be seen just making babies out of wedlock with people like that, and you ain't married and stuff. And I think at this time they were Catholic, so the pastor couldn't get married. So, and there's another story too, but
wait a minute. The pastor, the baby daddy?
The pastor's the baby daddy. Yeah.
Oh, snap. So it's the same thing going on today. But they ain't wearing no A's.
But it's a banned book.
A banned book.
because you don't want people to start questioning the hierarchy, people who are in power, the pastors, the leaders, right? So
Well, that's why it was banned.
ban that too, you know. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, controls that too. Well, the states control what we can and cannot learn. So it's not about fostering creativity and teaching you how to be a free thinker. It's teaching you how to go out here and work and be a good worker.
Well, there was a quote, and I can't remember what the family of this educational, this how you say it, this American educational system, because this educational system is only like this here. So I don't remember the whole quote, but the quote went like this: "I'm not building a nation of thinkers. I want a nation of workers." And that's the people that built all your HBCUs and gave you all your rules and all that kind. I'm not picking on nobody. I went to college too. I'm just telling you, I was following the wrong people too. I just want to let you know. We all did. Now we know.
And before you believe in the education of your state, remember that the Bible Belt states were also the ones that when they did lose the war and were supposed to free their slaves, did not. And that was the whole point of Juneteenth, right? Bible Belt states, baby. Bible Belt. I can't stand it out. I want to move to North America so bad. Woo, I feel like the slaves trying to travel to the north to be free.
You know what? And I tell you what, the stuff that you find out when you do come up north, you like, wait a minute. Not most, your slave owners were Christians. All of them were Christians. That's what I keep telling folks. You don't understand. You under your oppressor.
Yeah, they were.
They were Christian people.
Not only were they Christian, but they decided to give the slaves their own version of the Bible. Here's the thing, though, about those slave owner Christians. You're a slave owner, you're a Christian. The Bible says if you take away from the book of life, your name will, if you take from this book, your name will be taken out of the book of life, right? Which means you ain't going to heaven. So for every slave owner, if that's your belief that gave a slave Bible, they in hell right now.
But you gotta remember, the God that gave them that rule, not getting off the subject, also covered the person who always slave on them. Because as long as the slaves obey their masters, I think they're supposed to be blessed, I guess. Both of them. Yeah, but you gotta remember, God thought, as long as I'm a good slave, my master, then we all go into this heaven.
So the third pillar is media. I said, this is everything. And the biggest way media, the book talks about how media hypnotizes us. And the biggest way it does is by showing us visuals. It's the visuals. The biggest, and this is how I feel, I kind of resonate with that. Because I can take it out of religion and just talk about Black culture. It's amazing how the media loves to show us in a certain light, but you don't get to see the classy Black women like that. You don't get to see more of the Michelle Obamas. We too busy looking at the Cardi B's and the Megan Thee Stallions. And don't get me wrong, I love me some Cardi B. Oh, love me some Cardi B. But there are other layers to us as Black women. We ain't just ready to be diva, and we're about education, we're about empathy, we're about world peace. Like Black women are amazing. What you see, you don't see the amazing part of us, right?
And we are rising every day too, rising to the truth.
You see what they want you to show, what they want you to believe. Right. The book talks about media as the new religion.
Well, can't you see that? That stuff is explanatory.
Yeah.
That stuff is explanatory.
It baptizes your attention, it shapes your perception, and tells you what to love.
All day.
That's religion. Yeah, I have to agree. Media is definitely the new religion, especially of today. Okay, they don't go to church no more. They go to YouTube.
Well,
but, the book, I really like this quote out of the book. It says, "The media sells your permission to stay asleep."
Correct. I know that may offend a lot of people, but I think to you, when you sleeping, you're going to always be offended over any truth. So just, I say to the people that want to stay sleep. The ones that want to kind of wake up and even if you don't want to wake up all the way. But remember, I didn't watch The Matrix either, y'all. I know y'all probably going like, wow, it's 2026 and in America, I have not watched The Matrix. No, I have never watched The Matrix. I've seen clips of it, shorts. That's one of my things on the list. But my whole point is, media is your God because you don't know who your God is. You keep looking for a man in the sky, in the clouds. You waiting on Jesus to come back. And you know they're going to send out a hologram. Y'all know they got holograms of Jesus. And then y'all going to send them and going to follow a hologram. Y'all, I woke up too. You think it was nice waking up when I was serving Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior? I thought it was a real hell. Ain't no hell. Ain't no hell.
Yeah,
the Bible even told you.
Very uncomfortable for me to wake up. I was like, what the heck is going on?
Shook my world up.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Shook my world up. But yeah, so that's the third pillar. The fourth pillar is economy.
Okay.
What I like to call financial warfare.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, they took the chains off our wrists and they put it on our credit score. And
W-2.
Because who probably has, and I haven't looked this statistic up, I'll look it up, but who probably has some of the worst credit in this country right now? What they look like?
Well, they saying it's the Browns and the copper color people. They say we got some bad credit up in here.
Exactly.
That's another way to oppress people, to make them, give them an illusion, to make them think and make up a fake system.
A goal that's harder for certain people to get to. It's easier for others to get to, but it's harder for certain people to get to. And we call that the American dream, right? And don't get me wrong, it is an attainable goal for all Americans, but all Americans don't have the actual tools to actually get there. That's why in education there's something called an achievement gap. But it's more than that. It's not just, it really doesn't even just start with education. It starts with culture. It starts with how a lot of families back in this not the civil rights, I'm talking way back in the slave times, got that old plantation money, and their families have been building generational wealth. That's really, you want to get to the American dream, you do that through generational wealth. Whose families had the better chance of building generational wealth?
In the Matrix. In the Matrix that they set up.
When we did build generational wealth, what happened? Look up Black Wall Street.
Yeah, right there in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And another thing, at the end of the day, you made the people buy back their own land and made them build everything back up, and then you burned it down. So that's why when you talk about
they're doing too good and playing the game of the Matrix too well, they had to say, oh no, you're doing too good. We got, they had to offset their luck.
Look how long it took us to get a black bank. I don't know when the black banks open up.
We got a black bank.
Oh, we have black banks, but they I don't know if they have brick and mortars. They got Black United, and they got about 5 of them now. Solid Black Bank. I'm gonna open up an account, and I'm gonna put it on, so that way I could be one of them affiliates one of these days when I open it up. I'm gonna put y'all on to it. But we got banks now, y'all. But we building up. We coming along. We're gonna sovereign this year. But I'm gonna digress.
That the book made about the fourth pillar of economy being a control of the matrix. It said there are 3 things that foster wealth, right? Land. And when he says land, he means where you live, resources, right?
Correct.
And institutions, as in either you're going to an institution to work or you own an institution to work, right? Okay. And we've been forced to rent all 3. Even in my own career, and I'm pretty sure you've kind of figured out what my career is. I don't want to just say it out loud. Y'all will figure it out. But I have to pay to do my job. I have to spend money to do my job. Yep. So that was the fourth. And now the fifth pillar of the control of matrix, he calls this the invisible plantation, the government. That's what he calls the invisible plantation, the government. Now I'm gonna have to read it how he, because
No,
the way this man said it and the way he wrote it in this book is interesting, right? He said, the plantation is now policy. So what we call policy, that's the plantation. The overseer, that's the public servant, your senators, the House of Representatives, your local representatives. That's your overseers.
Correct.
Democracy promises equality, but it only gives dependency.
Correct.
I never really truly understood this idea of democracy in America, because how do you say I'm a democratic nation, but you don't act democratic? And so I say this all the time. America talks the talk, but it don't walk the walk. And that is because you got that old people. You got these old people who somehow think, oh, this is what America is supposed to. We're just gonna pretend to be like this, but really we're like that, you know. And I'm sick of it. That y'all need to just like let the old ideas die. But it goes on to say that true sovereignty can't be voted in, because it has to be lived out.
You really hitting some points there in that book, and it is time for me to engage in that book, because it's the opposite of us being sovereign beings. What's going on? The whole opposite.
I agree.
I feel it. At the end of the day,
talking about unplugging from the matrix and how to unplug. And it gives you 6 ways to unplug. The first way to unplug is to be aware of the control of the matrix. I think that's I'm definitely with the awareness. The second one is to align yourself with the true, I wouldn't even call it law, but divine knowledge, understanding, which is the Ma'at. Because it's rule. The Ma'at is like the 10 Commandments on steroids. Okay, It's got 42 rules and laws, but this is basically, look, if you've been a parent and you've raised children, you have to give them what?
Rules.
It's
divine order. These are cosmic rules.
When I first went on this journey, that's why I didn't have a problem with religion at first, because I was like, we need to be controlled, right? We're humans.
I remember you said that. Yeah, I remember you said, because I actually asked you about that. I said, whoa, why?
I no longer feel like we need to be controlled. We don't need to be controlled. We need to be freed. We need to be inspired. We need to be happy. Well, that's why I'm always talking about walk in love for one another. Everybody walk in love. When you don't walk in love and you hurt somebody, you present, I'm telling you, it's a domino effect. They're going to hurt somebody. They're going to hurt somebody. They're going to hurt somebody. But anyway, so unplugging from the matrix. The first one is awareness. The second one is alignment to the Ma'at. The third one is to study your ancestors. This is one I'm still trying to figure out how I want to go about that. I think I want to study the old ancestors, not like my grandma, great grandma, great grandfather. We ain't finna go into that. The fourth one is to fast from the media, not completely not watch the media. Okay, because we live in the matrix, so we're going to have media presence, right? Social medias and watching TV and stuff, but fast from it. For example, I watch the news for the weather, for the basics, and I go on about my business. I barely watch the news. And sometimes my family members will call me, oh, did you see what happened on the news? I know you saw it on the 9 o'clock news. No, I did not. Y'all know I don't watch that shit. The fifth one is eat like the earth made you. So this the author of this book is really big on eating from the earth and eating just eating healthy, but eating healthy natural foods, not that man-made stuff. And then 6, pray for clarity, not escape. Clarity. Because one of the things I will say people do is, we're in the matrix, all of this is fake, and then they go crazy, and I'm like, chill. First of all, calm down, breathe.
we all lose ourselves to find ourselves. Trust me, we all do.
We are in the matrix. It's okay, but this is your experience, and I know we said this, and I'm gonna say it again. What type of experience do you want to have?
Mm-hmm.
You are in control of your experience. Yep. So that was only chapter 3, y'all. Chapter 3. I'm telling you.
But like I said, I haven't read the book, but I know some things about some things, because like they, you tap into my ancestors, they'll speak to you and stuff. And my ancestors, they be speaking. You know what I'm saying? They be speaking and I be listening. It's time to listen, people. It's time to wake on up. Unless you want to stay asleep like a sheep. Like a little sheep, you stay asleep.
Exactly.
We gonna wake up, because at the end of the day, the ones that awake, we are the true warriors of this timeline right now. And just let you know, y'all. I know y'all read the book.
For you. If being asleep works for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. I mean, when you find out about reincarnation and going back into the light, come back on here into this crazy earth, then you'll figure out you need to go somewhere else.
Walking in fear, thinking you're going to hell.
Walking in fear, yeah, ain't none of that.
And you figure out it was right here. You wake up to it every day.
And I want to ask something about the Matrix. I don't want y'all to look at us and think that we have all this stuff figured out. And you do too. Yeah, all y'all got this stuff figured out, but you just gotta listen. And you gotta be prepared for what's going on, and you gotta know that we already won. You gotta remember. So we're not fighting us. If the Bible said anything that was right, we already done won the war. We just here because the great matriarch is rising. Y'all see how she doing? Y'all see them storms coming? Oh, she wait. It's only so long when y'all can do that. You know.
And you know what? That may be our next episode, where we talk about the great matriarch and the power of a woman. Because I have been itching to do an episode all about the spiritual power of a woman and how. Anyways, we'll talk about that on the next one.
But like I said, I haven't read the names. Yeah, the man God got a name. The one y'all worship, his name ain't Jesus, but y'all do have a man God. And if if you want to worship him, you can. He love to be prayed, bring money to the church house, things like that. He like to see you broke and busted and stuff. So if you continue, at least know your God, know your deity's name. That's why I love the fact that we will break it down into segments. We'll talk about the demiurge. We'll talk about Sophia. We'll talk about Braxis. We'll also even talk about church.
I don't even know. I ain't never heard no Braxis.
Oh my gosh. We'll talk about Abraxas, because everybody wants to call him a lot of names. We'll talk about Abraxas, who he is. We'll break down the demiurge. We'll break down one day we'll break down the 3 Jesus. The Yeshua, Jesus, and Jesus. So we'll break down different stories, created by different people. Because once you learn the stories created, then you'll learn if the character actually walked or not. You know what I'm saying? And then there's a lot out there. But another story for another day. I love it.
I love it. Definitely talk about that. Like I said, we got episode ideas on top of episode ideas. Just to help you on your
just to get it. Yeah, we want to get the dust in there and stuff.
Right. Well, thank you so much for spending time with us. And you know me, what I say, do you, boo? You are good as long as you are walking in love. Do you, boo? And have a wonderful, and we don't say what, blissful.
I love it.
Blissful.
Have a blissful day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.